Alright, what is going on, Guardians? It's your boy Wyatt, aka Wombo Combo, back again with another video, and today I'm going to be discussing my thoughts on RoN, the Root of Nightmares raid, specifically the day one. There's a lot of stuff going on right now about the contest mode raid, I'm sure as some of you have probably seen. I just wanted to give my take on the whole thing. So, first things first, the raid as a whole, not the worst raid in the world. It was pretty cool. Very simple mechanics, though. Very simple mechanics. That's part of the reason it got done in 2.5 hours for World's First. I mean, in Dato's video, he basically explained that for a good majority of the raid, it's 4 people on ads, 2 people doing a thing. And that is, like, pretty accurate for the most part. And on the first encounter, it's really 5 people on ads, 1 person doing the thing. It is a super easy mechanic to grasp, and it goes through the whole raid. So once you learn it at the beginning, you pretty much know how to do the entire raid from start to finish, sans, the 3rd encounter. So overall, the raid was very easy, and I was disappointed with the World's First race. However, I will say that for my team, it took us 13.5 hours to beat it. Does that mean it's a hard raid? No, not at all. We knew the mechanics pretty early on, and I would argue that that is part of why we beat it. We didn't spend a lot of time like mechanic or puzzle solving. It was a lot of like, oh, we just need to execute, and we had a hard time executing. My team is very smart, very good at solving puzzles, not so great at like DPS checks and things like that. So we kind of slammed through, solving the mechanics. Like it was really easy, but also it took us 13.5 hours because we couldn't execute. So I know some people would be like, well, if it was so easy, why did it take 13.5 hours? It can be an easy raid and still be difficult to beat on contest mode with a group of 6 because it relies on everybody. You know what I mean? But we knew how to do it pretty quickly, I would say. So overall, I totally understand people's disappointment with the 2.5 hour raid race. I was disappointed by that. I look forward to these, and while I don't participate now that they're on Fridays because I have work, I enjoy the watch, the streams, keeping up with the updates to see who's in the lead, things like that. So I was disappointed when it got beaten 2.5 hours. Now the other thing I'll say is all of these people out there complaining about, well, the emblem, it should be for day one only, contest mode should have a different emblem, blah blah blah. Well, okay, I don't care if that's your opinion. Sure, give it a new emblem for contest mode. Here's my thought on it. I have to work on Friday. Almost everyone in my group had to work on Friday. We could not participate in the day one. It's not that we couldn't beat it. We obviously did. We went in blind on day 2. It was essentially day 1 for us. None of us knew what we were doing, and we beat it. So I just have a hard time feeling the whole like, well, day 2 people don't deserve it. Like, some of them do. Some of us have work on Friday and go in blind still and figure it out. So I was a little on that. Like, that kind of bothers me a little bit. I feel like my team deserved it. We went in at noon my time and weren't done until 1:30 in the morning. We grinded our asses off and we did it, and I'm proud of us for that. I also see people saying, well, 5% of all Guardians have the emblem. That's more than every other raid, and it's so many people have it, and blah blah blah. If you're basing the value of your emblem off of how many other people got the emblem, that's on you. I base my value on the emblem on the experience. My team went in, took us 13.5 hours, we grinded our asses off, and we earned that fucking emblem. I don't give a shit if 400,000 players have, or I think it's somewhere around there, like 400,000. I don't know. A lot of people got the emblem, but even still, for you to make the argument that 5% have it, that means 95% of people don't have it. It's just absurd to me. Like, the pure copium that these people are on. Like, to be like, well, it's not fair. Whatever. Get over yourself. That's just my thought on the matter. We went in, we earned it. On day 2, we still went in blind. We figured out all the puzzles, solved all the mechanics, and we earned our emblem. It's that simple. So overall, that whole thing is just a little ridiculous to me. I guess here's my other thought too, though, is like there are people who are big voices in the community, like Glad. Glad, for example, said that he thinks day 1 emblems should be exclusive and you should only deserve it, or you should only get it if you deserve it, blah, 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 and they shouldn't be handouts. And while I respect his opinion, I just disagree with that. I think if you can beat the raid on contest mode, day 1 or 2, then you deserve an emblem. And if you don't like that tons of people have the emblem, then don't wear it. Wear one of your other ones. You know, like Glad, you can wear your day 1 Last Wish one. You know how many people have that? 12. You know what I mean? Like, if it's such a big deal to you, then don't wear it. I don't get that argument, but I still respect Glad. Glad's a great player, and, you know, if that's his opinion, that's his opinion. But I just don't think, you know, people like Saltagrepo and Dado, their whole thing is they're like, we don't give a shit about the emblem. We don't care how many people have the emblem. We just wanted the day 1 race to be longer than 2.5 hours. And I totally get that. I respect that, and I agree with that. The day 1 race should be more of a challenge. It was disappointing. It was a letdown. So I totally understand where they're coming from. But the whole, well, it shouldn't be 48 hours. I disagree with that take. I think if you can beat it on day 2, whether or not you got to do it on day 1, as long as it's on contest mode and you can beat it, you deserve the emblem. That's the way I see it. And now, I guess getting into like my actual thoughts on the raid, I really enjoy it. And I hesitate to say that just because, like, I hated it in the moment, right? Like, 13.5 hours in, I was dreading that fucking raid. And I guess first run through, trying to solve mechanics, like, you do get a little tired of it. You're like, what is going on? And you're just dying over and over and over and over and trying to figure out how to do it. But now that it's off contest mode, holy shit. We could run this thing in like 30 minutes flat, and I love that, especially because the gear is so good. I was lucky enough to get the raid exotic, the new exotic shotgun conditional finality on our first clear on contest mode. Super stoked about that, but I still want to go back in to get red borders, and I want to get the auto rifle and the shotgun and the grenade launcher. Like, there's some really good loot from this raid. So I'm actually very hyped that it's like a quick 30 minutes in and out type thing. And then also I will say that I could see how this raid would be very unenjoyable if you're on ads. Literally the entire raid, 4 people are on ads at least. The whole thing, start to finish. Your job is to just like do ads and pretty much nothing else. So I could understand finding this raid a little boring if you're on ad clear. Myself, my team had me and another guy do running the whole time. We were the runners. I ran the opening encounter, which is enjoyable for me, right? Like, I love putting the team on my back. They're clearing ads, all 5 of them, while I'm running. And I love that. Like, that gives me something important to do, and it makes me feel like I have a job to do, and I need to be efficient, and it definitely is a lot more enjoyable that way. I could tell you for sure that I would not like the opening encounter as much if I were on ad clear. The running is what makes it enjoyable to me. Same goes for the second encounter and the third encounter with the planets. I was a planet runner, and then on the second encounter, I was, a crosser. I would go back and forth and shoot the buffs and do all that, and that was super fun to me. I actually really enjoyed doing that job, especially not jumping on those stupid cannons. Those things suck. Those are one of the worst raid mechanics they've ever introduced, legitimately. But yeah, no, I mean, I seriously, really enjoyed doing that, especially on Titan off contest mode. I just threw on my Lion Rampants and an Eager Sword, and I was flying, boy. I was zooming. So that was actually pretty enjoyable. And then the Nezzy fight is a letdown, I think. Like, it's a cool arena. Nezzy is a cool boss, but they really just copy and pasted the whole Rolk idea. They were like, oh, you like a boss that moves around and attacks you? Well, here you go. The difference being that Rolk is on a literally flat arena, it's like a boxing ring. You have nowhere to run. If he chases you down, he chases you down. Nezzy, everyone just does what we always do against any other boss, against Oryx, against Atheon, against Golgoroth. You drop a well, he stands there, and you shoot at him. Sans, a couple times he'll do like a big jump slam and boop you off and whatever, but like for the most part, you just stand on a plate and shoot. And that's boring. That's like not anything like Rolk. And granted, I'm not saying every boss should be like Rolk. I actually don't like that they pretty much copy and pasted the idea of Rolk being a, up in your face kind of big scythe weapon or glaive or whatever it is in his hands, like smacking you around. Like they really did just copy and paste that to Nezarec, minus a couple things. He doesn't shoot the giant laser beams and he does a different slam attack, but for the most part, they kind of just copy and pasted the idea. So that was lame to me. The story was cool, Nezarec, very cool. I was definitely invested in trying to take down Nezarec, although I don't understand it really at all. That goes back to Lightfall just being a horrible campaign that doesn't explain anything. I guess Nezarec was on the Witness's ship for some reason, and he got revived by the Traveler, so there you go. But yeah, overall, I give this raid a 6 or a 7 out of 10. I really enjoy it right now. That opinion might change after, 50 clears. I might start to hate this raid, but it's something new, and I have an important job on my team during the raid, which makes it more enjoyable for me. Anyways, guys, those are kind of my thoughts on the raid, on the contest, on the day 1 race. Definitely let me know what you guys think down below. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the whole situation. There's a lot of things being said back and forth between sides, a lot of hate, a lot of love, people saying it's amazing, people saying it was the worst. I want to know where your guys' thoughts are, but anyways, I will catch you guys later. Thank you for watching. Peace.